I would say, no, overcoming of these fears gave me lots of power. So much, no? Because feeling able to take it forward and take the step and nothing happens. You didn't die. No one died, right? The plane didn't crash. Like, wow, if I can do that, I can do anything I want in my life. That's been one of the biggest lessons of all this trip.
While many people would dream of taking their sabbatical in Barcelona, Laura Tobaruela left that city because of a feeling that if she stayed put, living this typical city life with a comfortable office job and apartment, she would regret it later. So Laura planned and set off on a sabbatical trip, even though it wasn't a common thing to do within her culture, and even though the financial crisis that rocked Spain in recent years made many people even more risk-averse. I met Laura the first winter I was living in Spain on a group hike up one of the largest mountains in my area. There was a lot of unexpected snow and ice. We survived, just barely, and once we were happily back in a warm bar at the foot of the mountain drinking a beer, she told me she was about to take her own sabbatical. Laura initially intended to travel for a year, yet continues her journey even now, 3.5 years later. Along the way, she's made many personal discoveries that have changed everything about how she views her future. What I really appreciate about this conversation is how Laura talks about the deeper, more spiritual change that can come from stepping out of your known world and into a whole new context. The self-confidence, the sense of possibility, the discovery of what you most value and how you want to live your life and where. Unlocking your creativity and starting to express yourself in whole new ways. I'm Lisa Hawashi, and this is Leap Like Me, the show about the leaps people take to make the most of this amazing life. Hello, Laura, and thank you for being on the show today.
Hello, Lisa. Thank you for having me here.
Can you set the scene for us today about where you are right now?
Right now, I'm located in Mexico, in the Pacific coast, a town called Puerto Escondido.
And when did you begin your sabbatical?
I began my sabbatical in May 2015.
And what was your plan when you just first started out?
My plan was to travel from the States and cross all Central America. And I wanted to finish in the north of Brazil. And if I had extra time in that year, I was intending to go to Africa too. But if I can tell you, I never went farther down than Guatemala.
So what happened? What kept you stuck?
Because at some point, I realized that I didn't want to move as much, but I wanted to know in a deeper level the places that I was visiting, no? And after, I think it was 4 or 5 months of moving around and visiting all the west of the States and then crossing Mexico to the south, and going to Cuba. Cuba was the trigger. I was tired and I wanted to rest and settle a little bit. And I ended up in a very beautiful place for me in the Caribbean, in Mexico. And I like it a lot there. And I didn't intend to stay 7 months as I did at the end. But, like, yeah, next week I'm leaving. And then, oh, maybe not. I will see. And then at the end, I'm very well here. Why should I leave, no? So, yeah. And, yeah, it allowed me to know more the people I was buying from, the food, no? The locals around me, neighbors, and to get a different view of the village and the people of Mexico, no, in that area specifically.
So you're from Barcelona, and that's a place that a lot of people would dream of going to on their own sabbatical.
So many people. Oh, Barcelona. Oh, yeah.
So what were some of your reasons for wanting to leave that place and do something different?
I had this little thing itch of traveling since 2008 when I did my first trip across the Atlantic. I went to visit Chile, Peru, Bolivia, Argentina in 1 month. It was a lot. So I came back and I wanted to leave again. But then for personal and economical reasons, I couldn't. And then in 2010, after changing job, I started a job that I didn't like too much, but gave me what I was needing in that moment. And after 3 years and a half in that job, I thought, if I stay here and I don't leave, I will never do it because it's so comfortable. No, you have a job, you have an apartment, everything is a little bit, the continuation, no? And it was such a sad thought, no, to think I'm gonna stay here and retire here, and then that gave me the courage and the will to plan it, no. And the real motivation behind was a lack of time. I was missing time to discover myself, to really try things and give me time to think, what do I want to do? What do I want in my life, no? And I felt that I was always working and rushing, no? High school, university, then first work, and one job after the other, and never had time. I was tired all the time, no? And the weekends I was getting away to disconnect, but I never have time to find out, no? For myself. So that was the big motivation for it.
And around that time, you mentioned that kind of all of this started was 2008, which is the beginning of the financial crisis that happened in Spain. And it was a really hard time in Spain. And I know that during hard times, people kind of get nervous about taking any risks, but you kind of did the opposite. It seems like that moment, you still went forward with a risk in your life.
Yeah, honestly, I would have done it earlier. I wanted to leave in 2010. I closed my massage business. I wanted to leave immediately in that moment, but I didn't have a penny. I had debts. So I thought, okay, I could get another debt and buy the plane ticket, but I will have this big backpack, no, to give back this money. So I prefer to clean all this and then be free, no? So that's why I I didn't leave in 2010, but in 2015 finally, no. But yeah, it was one of the motivations because the atmosphere in Spain was very obnoxious. Everybody was talking about this investment risk and this, the numbers. Every day on TV they were talking about the crash, no. The atmosphere was so depressive. I was fed up. I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah, I wanted to see different things. I was sure that outside of Spain there was another view, no, of the issue.
So really, the atmosphere that the financial crisis brought on in Spain was something that you actually wanted to get away from.
Yeah, definitely.
And how common is it, would you say, that people from where you're from take risks like this and make major life changes like this?
Not very common, I think. I know 3-4 people maybe who did something like that of my circle of friends. And they are all couch surfers, they were already in the soup, no? But many, many people, when I was telling them I was having this plan, or even after, no, once I left, so many people tell me, oh, I'm so jealous of what you did in your life. I want to do that so badly too, no? Many people want to do something like that. And then I tell them, well, it's easy. You just take a decision and plan it, right? Once you take the decision, it's so easy. But they say, no, I cannot do it. No, they are scared. And they don't think at the beginning that I've been scared too, so many times. No? The decision was very clear. And then the planification was, wow, better. Even the execution, making the plan real was easy. But there was a moment that I entered in panic 6 weeks before leaving. I already had quit my job, left my apartment, moved all my belongings into boxes into the family house, no? And then I started to think that I would never leave and that my plane was going to crash. So I couldn't go in that plane because it was going to crash. And it was a panic moment, but then also I felt the shame of, oh, I cannot stay now. Everybody knows I'm leaving. No? It's like, yeah, I'm going. And then, no, I stayed. No, no. And then my best friend, she also took a sabbatical a few years before. She told me, don't worry, Laura, this is just fear. The moment you jump in on the plane, you will lose it, no? Or it will transform, I would say. But yeah, I was, wow, now I'm very scared, no? So, yeah, these moments appear, no? And it's not that everything is a rose path and smelling perfectly, no? And shiny and bright. No, there are moments that, wow, but if I can anticipate that, I would say, no, overcoming of these fears gave me lots of power, so much, no? Because feeling able to take it forward and to take the step and nothing happens. You didn't die. No one died, right? The plane didn't crash. Like, wow, if I can do that, I can do anything I want in my life. That's been one of the biggest lessons of all this trip, of all this journey, that everything is possible. But very often when we are in a place with all these cultural thoughts and routines, and we are restricted, no? We shape our mind and our thoughts to what everybody thinks. And once you get out of that and you start, also I would say one of the consequences of traveling is that you move so much that the only thing that remains the same is yourself. So you start to face the things that are not moving in you, the things that are fixed. It's not anymore the surrounding, because the surrounding is changing, no? And you are talking to different people all the time. So for myself, I was facing more my inner demons, if you want to use this word, no? And then it was more easy to face them. It's like, okay, I wake up in a different city every 3 days, but every day I have this feeling when I wake up. So that's something I want to change. It's not linked to the place I wake up or to the country or to the city or to the people surrounding me, no? It's myself. So that was very good to work in a personal level as well, no?
And what do you think some of those most important personal changes have been for you?
One of my motivations to travel was to travel solo, to gain confidence in being able to do things by myself. Because this, especially I think for women, no, this thing that, oh, you need a man to go somewhere, no, or to build a house, or to, I don't know, to travel in an RV, no, you cannot do it alone because it's too dangerous, no, and you need always a man or maybe a fellow traveler, another woman, but alone is too dangerous, no. So I wanted to prove myself that it wasn't true, that I was able to stand by myself and to manage in changes and in challenges by myself, no? So that was one of the gains for sure. A lot of confidence, no? And I learned a lot about spirituality, if you want to call it like that, because in other countries it's different, of course, the way they think, no? For example, here in Mexico is incredible, the ancestral knowledge they have. So suddenly you are here and they start to talk about spirits and the day of death, for example. Oh yeah, the spirits come, if we think about them, they come back, no? Oh wow. This kind of opening my mind to new things, no? New learnings that comes from and with new cultures, no? These also, I allowed myself to explore more the creativity in myself. Soon after starting the trip, like 3-4 months after leaving, I realized that I was having plenty of spare time. I mean, it's nice to visit places, but it's all the time the same, no? sightseeing and talking. In the beginning, it was lots of partying. Then I realized I didn't want to be that much in that atmosphere. So I started to create handcrafts, to learn from people who were also traveling and making their own handcrafts like macrame or wire. So that added a new dimension, like, oh, I can learn things while I travel, no? I started to practice yoga in the places I was visiting. They were teaching yoga, and it's very cheap here. So going to yoga classes and then learning from these artisans how to do this and that, that has been another dimension, no? Because I was doing a mental job in Barcelona before leaving, no? An office job, computer job, and suddenly I'm choosing colors, no? Very different thing.
Yeah.
And what else did I learn? Yeah, mainly the main lesson is this thing of I can do anything I want. Everything is possible. I can go wherever I want, almost. I can decide to move to any place where I like, and I can do anything I want in the terms of job or activity, no? You know, when we learn in school, and this in Spain, we learn that if you want to be a doctor, you have to go to medicine school, right? And there's no way to be a doctor if you don't go to medicine school. And that's probably right. But it's not always like that, no? There's always a conjunction. You can arrive to a place from different ways, no? And that was the lesson, no? In this sense of, if you want something, you will find a way.
And what plans do you have for your life right now?
I want to focus on working with people and continue the creative side. I was a massage therapist already in Spain before the crash, but I left it on the side, and now I started again playing with it, and I really feel that I like it and I miss it. And it's related to this, it's a healing side, no? That I want for myself, and I would also like to share with other people. And the other is the music, creativity linked. I'm a singer, and I've been a singer for a few years already, but I was never a professional singer, and I'm now starting to go in that direction. No? And this last summer, I was already professionally performing, which was like, wow, I can do that too, right? I never studied music theory, right? That was another conclusion in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know music theory, you will never be a professional musician. And it's not true. So I showed myself that too, no? And yeah, I think I found a place where I want to live and settle. So my plan is to find a way to 100% settle there and to continue with these two projects. And also, I'm already connected, but I decided I don't want to live in cities anymore. I like too much being in nature and also making my own food and gardening. No, it's always been one of my passions, but this summer I had my own veggie garden and I grew my food, and that's very rewarding for me. I really like it.
And where have you decided that you would like to settle?
in BC, in British Columbia, in the Okanagan Valley, in the south.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And Mexico has become a really important place to you as well, hasn't it?
Yes, it is. I like it a lot, and also it gives me the Latin connection that I miss in the States or in Canada, no? Which I like a lot, but I miss this hot vibe, no? And even only the fact of going to dance salsa, and everybody's dancing salsa like crazies, no? This I like a lot from here. Or yeah, there's something more groovy, no? Somehow. it's a rich country, but I also feel a lot the difficulties of living in Mexico. No, it's insecure. There's a lot of difficulties in structure and organization. There's a lot of poverty. There's a lot of corruption. So I think I will keep Mexico as a little retreat, no, to charge Latin batteries. Something like that.
Okay. So it's like kind of the perfect life is in British Columbia with a recharge in Mexico.
Exactly, with the possibility of run away when it's too cold or too snowy or, like, okay, I need some Latin recharge.
Right.
But who knows? Everything can change, eh? You never know.
And, this idea of choosing someplace that is so far from your original home, what is it that you really like about the place of British Columbia or the culture that you feel like really suits you?
I think in one hand, for sure, is the nature, because for me, it's a rural area, but with still lots of economical, growth. It's wealthy in terms of jobs, but in the place I live there, it's a 2,000 people little town. But I like the fact that I can go swim in the lake after working, no, or after whatever. And everybody has fruit trees, and then in the harvest season, everybody's giving you fruit. And like, oh, I have a lot of spare plums. Would you like some? Of course. No, there's this combination of rural and wealth. No, in where I come from, rural is poor and is boring, and it can be sometimes a bit uneducated. No, it's not as exciting. Maybe it's a thought. It's not real. That's how I perceive it there. While in this little place in Canada, it's full of musicians, artists who decided to move there because it's beautiful. It's very touristic, so there's this economic income. And yeah, it's surrounded by beautiful lakes and mountains, no? I may lack a little bit of people excitement or diversity because in the winter there's almost no one, no? But I think I can manage that, no? To fix it, like travel somewhere else or going to Vancouver maybe or to visit somewhere else, no? Yeah, and I like that the people are very calm and kind and it's very safe. People are very relaxed, no? In that sense, you don't feel people are stressed like in Barcelona. Everybody's running and suffering because the rent is going high, no? I don't have this feeling, no? People are enjoying in the lake or, yeah, it's another feeling.
And did you ever imagine that you would decide that you would want to live so far from home?
Not as far. When I was in college, I took a semester in Erasmus program. It's an European program in university, and I went to France. I was putting as a possibility Mexico or Canada too, actually, but I felt it was too far from home. Yeah, I think in that moment I wasn't ready to be completely separated from my family. And this time it was also a challenge to be separated from my family, but I felt I needed that. I was sometimes worried because of the family history. I was feeling too responsible of my family. So that took me away lots of energy while I was in Spain. But also it made me anxious when I left because I thought something would happen to them, no? And I wouldn't be there. So it's been a lesson of detachment. Like, okay, I love my family, but I don't have to worry about them all the time, no? I deserve and I should have my own life. So that was another lesson. And yeah, now that I'm far away, I really enjoy it a lot. Not having these strings, no? I have them when I want. I call often and I keep in touch continuously through the phone, no? But yeah, no, it's not difficult. And also, I've been creating family all over, no? Once I started traveling and I met friends, very good friends. And now, for example, I'm visiting a very good friend I made in the Caribbean. And she lives here in Puerto Escondido, so I came to visit her. And we are like sisters, no? I mean, it's not only the blood family, no? We can create family in other places. And that's wonderful. And then you have family everywhere. Have family in the States, in Mexico, in Argentina, in Canada, no? It's an expansion of the family. And it's a different family. It's a family that I chose, that I wasn't born in that family, no? It's different, yeah. So no, I'm not suffering because of that. And I never imagined I would be that far away.
Well, so to end our conversation, I want to ask you 3 questions. The first is, what do you wish you had known before you took your leap?
I guess I wish I would have known that there were other possibilities while traveling, because my idea of traveling was linked to budget. So if I had money to travel 1 year, it meant my trip would be 1 year. And as soon as I started traveling, I realized, I learned from other people, other travelers, that there are so many ways to travel that are not linked to budget, no? From volunteering to working abroad to, I don't know, camping and reducing budget especially, no? I mean, a new world opened to me as soon as I started. As I left and I started to be with more backpackers, no? That it was not everything linked to money. That was a big discovery. No?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. We kind of feel like there's only one way of going about it until we actually get out on the road and see that there are so many different people on different types of adventures, and that we can really learn from them about how we could do things like they're doing too, or that they're doing even crazier things or riskier things.
Yeah, and it's funny because these people, you don't meet them in your hometown.
Exactly.
Unless they are visiting and they are from there, no? I mean, you need to get into this parallel universe of the travelers or the sabbatical people, and then you start to learn a lot. But before you get in, it's very difficult, no? To have this input, to have this information. So yeah, it's always taking the first step is the most difficult, but once you take it, everything starts to go, no? Yeah.
Yeah, it gets easier from there. What was the most unexpected thing that came from your leap?
I guess this thing of wanting to settle in Canada and wanting to move to a Northern American country. I would have never expected that. Never.
Did you have a different impression of it before you went?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. From the movies, I don't know. Yeah, but especially Canada, I don't like the cold at all. At all. And I don't like it still, but I see the other points, the positive points, no? And I've always lived in a warm country, so it's like, okay, it's time to move out of the heat, no? And what I chose in Canada, the place I chose to be, it's very hot in summertime. It's desertic. It's like 40 degrees Celsius. But then in wintertime, it goes to minus 15, no? And it snows. So it's a very extreme place.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a little bit of everything. You have heat and then you have cold. So it's kind of balanced, no? But yeah, I would have never expected myself to want to move in a cold country.
And for someone who's thinking of doing something similar, what piece of advice would you offer them?
My piece of advice would be to write down the goal of the trip, of the sabbatical, to set the motivations behind, so it's very clear. Why do I want to do that? What do I want to obtain? Because once we have this direction clear, we can always improvise on the way, but we know where we are heading, not a physical place, no, but a direction. Like, okay, I know I want to discover, to give more room to my creativity. It doesn't matter where I am. The importance is in that, no, flow of creativity. And also because sometimes during the trip, especially at the beginning, I felt a little bit lost, no? Like, what am I doing here? Why did I leave? No, sometimes like, and then it's good to connect again with these goals, no? And also another tip is don't trust your mind. Your mind will want you to stay at home. Wherever you are now, your mind wants you to be comfortable, to live the known things, but think about yourself in 10 years if you don't change anything, and think about if you will regret not taking that opportunity or that little adventure. And just know that every fear, anything that comes to your mind as a fear, once you overcome it, that it's not a big exercise of overcoming, like, I have to overcome. No, just, okay, I'm scared of going out. I just go out, one step. Then everything changes. And the fear that was pushing you down starts to lift you up. It gives you wings. All the little fear you overcome makes your wings to grow. And then you can fly more. And that you need to experience it to realize there's no other way. It's like taking a faith step, no? When you are in a mountain and you have to jump the void, and it's maybe 3 steps, you have to do it, and it's very scary. But once you do it, you are, wow, no? It's the same feeling. Yeah. Regret for me was very helpful. If I thought, if I stay here, I will be so sad and frustrated. I cannot miss that opportunity, no?
Yeah. Well, I love just some of those images, and I can really feel what you're describing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Laura, for sharing your story today.
It's been a pleasure, Lisa. Thank you so much for inviting me and for doing this kind of stories to encourage other people to enjoy more life.
Thank you for listening all the way through to the end of this episode. It was great to have you join us. As usual, you can hop on over to lisahawashi.com to check out the show notes. You can see photos of Laura, and you can also check out some of the books that she's recommended from her own journey. If you're working on your own leap and you'd like some support, we're here for you. You can join the Leap Like Me community on Facebook, or you can reach out to me personally at my website or by sending me a message on Facebook or Instagram. If you've been enjoying these stories and getting something out of it, I would love it if you left a review or rating on iTunes. I so value each and every one of these that have been left for the show. Thank you so much for everyone who's already written one and for helping us get the word out about these stories. Also, be sure to subscribe because we've got some great new interviews lined up for the next several weeks. I can't wait to share those with you. That's it for this week. Thanks again for listening to Leap Like Me.